Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Shubhendu Ghosh. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. Prime Minister Narendra Modi says India will become a global power in semiconductors, lays foundation of 3 mega semiconductor projects. Day 3 of Indian President Droupadi Murmu's state visit to Mauritius launches 14 India-assisted development projects along with Mauritian Prime Minister. Russia sends nuclear warning alongside offer for talks on Ukraine. US says Putin not ready for serious talks. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi participated in India's decade Chips for Viksit Bharat via video conferencing. Prime Minister laid the foundation stone of 3 semiconductor projects worth Rs 1.2 lakh crore with the goal of development of semiconductors and display manufacturing ecosystems in India. India Semiconductor Mission has been set up to create an end-to-end semiconductor ecosystem to enable India to lead the global semiconductor industry. Prime Minister said today India is the second largest mobile manufacturer. Talking about National Quantum Mission NQM, Prime Minister said there is going to be a rapid expansion of the India AI mission. He said the 3 projects will help in making India a global hub of semiconductor production.
21वीं सदी टेक्नोलॉजी ड्रिवन सेंचुरी है और इलेक्ट्रॉनिक चिप के बिना उसकी कल्पना भी नहीं की जा सकती। मेड इन इंडिया चिप, डिजाइन इन इंडिया चिप भारत को आत्मनिर्भरता की तरफ ले जाने में, आधुनिकता की तरफ ले जाने में ये बहुत बड़ा सामर्थ्य पैदा करेगी। पहली, दूसरी और तीसरी औद्योगिक क्रांति के समय भारत अनेक कारणों से पीछे रह गया था, लेकिन अब भारत इंडस्ट्री 4.0 चौथी औद्योगिक क्रांति के नेतृत्व के इरादे से आत्मविश्वास के साथ आगे बढ़ रहा है।
And Prime Minister further said day is not far when India will become a global power in semiconductors as well.
चिप मैन्युफैक्चरिंग सिर्फ एक इंडस्ट्री मात्र नहीं है, ये विकास का वो द्वार खोलती है जो असीम संभावनाओं से भरा हुआ है। इस सेक्टर से न सिर्फ भारत में रोजगार के नए अवसर बनने वाले हैं, बल्कि टेक्नोलॉजिकल एडवांसमेंट्स के क्षेत्र में भी बड़ी प्रगति होने वाली है।
India's Prime Minister on Wednesday virtually launched PM Suraj portal and sanctioned credit up to 10 million entrepreneurs of disadvantaged sections across the country. Prime Minister also distributed Ayushman health cards and PPE kits to sanitation workers under Namaste scheme. About 30 million beneficiaries of various government schemes for disadvantaged groups attended this program. Addressing the gathering, Prime Minister Modi said that through this portal, the financial assistance will be directly sent to the bank accounts of the beneficiaries.
सूरज पोर्टल भी लॉन्च किया है। इसके जरिए वंचित समुदाय के लोगों को अब सीधे आर्थिक सहायता दी जा सकती है, यानी भारत सरकार की दूसरी योजनाओं की तरह ही विभिन्न अन्य योजनाओं का पैसा भी सीधे आपके खाते में पहुंचेगा। न कोई चीज का बिचौलिया, न कट, न कमीशन और न ही कोई सी सिफारिश के लिए चक्कर काटने की जरूरत।
Moving on day 3 of President Droupadi Murmu's visit to Mauritius, she visited the Intercontinental Slavery Museum of Mauritius. The museum commemorates the contributions of African, Malagasy and Asian slaves to Mauritian colonial economy. It serves as a powerful reminder of slavery and exploitation and reinforces commitment to create a just society. In a moving tribute to Apravasis, President Droupadi Murmu visited the iconic Apravazi Ghat, a UNESCO World Heritage Site in Mauritius, paid homage to the Apravasis. The Ghat stands as a symbol of inspiring resilience of more than 500,000 Indian indentured laborers who migrated to Mauritius in the 19th and 20th centuries. Delegation-level talks were held between India and Mauritius in the National Assembly of the country. The two countries decided to further strengthen their bilateral relationship in various sectors, including financial services, civil services, taxation and investigating agencies, by signing respective MOUs. India's President and Prime Minister of Mauritius, Pravind Kumar Jagannath, jointly virtually inaugurated 14 small development India-assisted projects. The leaders also unveiled foundation stone for the new forensic science lab funded by India. And India's Foreign Secretary Vinay Mohan Kwatra briefed the media on the MOU signed during President Murmu's visit to Mauritius.
Several important MOUs were exchanged in the presence of Honorable President and the Prime Minister of Mauritius. These MOUs capture various segments of our bilateral cooperation across different domains such as public administration, avoidance of double taxation, financial services and good governance.
Foreign Secretary added that India-Mauritius relations are special and historically unique, as epitomized by India's President's meeting with Mauritius Prime Minister.
Prime Minister of Mauritius earlier today met with Honorable Rashtrapati Ji, during which both sides expressed satisfaction over the progress made in the relationship, assessed progress in our partnership across various domains, reaffirmed their commitment to further deepen the bilateral ties across all sectors, as well as between peoples of our two countries, which remain the special foundation of our relationship.
In other news, Prime Minister of Bhutan, Tshering Tobgay, will be on an official visit to India from 14th to 18th of March at the invitation of Prime Minister Narendra Modi. This will be his first overseas visit after assuming office in January 2024. During the visit, Prime Minister of Bhutan will call on India's President Droupadi Murmu, will also hold bilateral talks with Prime Minister Modi. India's External Affairs Minister and other Indian dignitaries will call on Prime Minister of Bhutan. The visit of Bhutanese Prime Minister will provide an opportunity for the two sides to review partnership progress. Meanwhile, the Union Cabinet has approved agreements to strengthen bilateral relations between India and Bhutan. An MOU on general supply of petroleum oil lubricants, or POL, related products was signed between the two nations. An agreement was also inked in food safety. Both nations also approve an MOU on cooperation in the field of energy efficiency and energy conservation measures. In Nepal, Prime Minister Pushpakamal Dahal Prachanda secured vote of confidence for the third time. Prime Minister Dahal won 157 votes in favour, while 110 lawmakers stood against the vote of confidence. One of the lawmakers in the Nepali Federal Parliament abstained. A total of 268 votes were cast in Wednesday's vote of confidence tabled by Prime Minister Pushpakamal Dahal. A Bangladeshi-flagged cargo vessel MV Abdullah, carrying coal and manned by 23 crew members, has been hijacked by Somalian pirates in the Indian Ocean near Somalia coast. The ship was heading for Dubai from Mozambique, Maputo port, when the pirates attacked. This is the second instance of a Bangladeshi flagged ship hijacked by Somali pirates. MV Abdullah vessel is owned by SR Shipping Lines, a sister company of Chattogram-based Kabir Steel and Rolling Mill Group. Bangladesh Shipping Department officials say that they have already contacted various international organizations and embassies through the Ministry of Foreign Affairs to aid in rescuing the ship and the sailors on board. India's Defence Minister Rajnath Singh has approved a proposal for expansion of the National Cadet Corps, or NCC, with addition of 3 lakh cadet vacancies. This expansion is expected to meet the growing demand for NCC in educational institutions across the country. From just 20,000 cadets in 1948, the NCC will now have a sanctioned strength of 20 lakh cadets in its roles, making it the largest uniformed youth organization of the world. With NCC being offered as an elective subject as per the National Education Policy 2020, the expansion will be a step towards meeting the aspirations of the youth. Expansion will lead to proportionate distribution of vacancies across all states and union territories. It will also seek employment of ex-servicemen as NCC instructors, thus leveraging their skills and vast experience. Let's take a look at other stories making news today. 2 people were killed, including a lawyer in India's city of Patna. 6 others sustained burn injuries after a transformer installed in the premises of Patna Civil Court exploded on Wednesday. The sudden blaze, which reportedly stemmed from an overloaded transformer, quickly engulfed the vicinity, injuring people at the incident spot. Indian Railway Minister Ashwini Vaishnav expressed satisfaction over 357-kilometre-long fencing along the tracks of Mumbai-Ahmedabad section of Western Rail Zone to curb incidents of cattle run over. Rail Minister said that this innovation has been accepted by people as well, and due to this fence, the trains running between Mumbai and Ahmedabad can be taken to 160 kilometres per hour. The global CEO of DHL Express, John Pearson, on Wednesday said India is poised for logistics success and good market for them. He also highlighted the national logistics policy and the power of globalization to reshape the world and foster opportunities for individuals, businesses and nations to flourish, highlighting the ongoing Russia-Ukraine conflict in particular. The Securities and Exchange Board of India, SEBI, and National Institute of Securities Markets organized the 5th Research Conclave in Mumbai on Wednesday. SEBI Chairman Madhavi Puri Buch expressed confidence in the conclave that Government of India's bonds will become part of global indices and result in large investments in the country. Time for a short break. Still to come on this edition of DD India Live. Joe Biden and Donald Trump clinch victory in their respective parties' nomination, set to clash in November US elections. Humanitarian aid from Morocco sent to Gaza via land route. Japan's Space One Kairos rocket explodes shortly after launch. Welcome back. You're watching DD India Live. I'm Shubhendu Ghosh. In a conversation with Russia's RIA state news agency and television, Russian President Vladimir Putin has said Moscow remains in a state of combat readiness and is fully ready to use nuclear weapons if its sovereignty was threatened. However, Russia has never faced the need to use nuclear arms in the Ukraine conflict since it began in February of 2022.
From the technical point of view, of course, we are ready. The missiles are constantly combat ready. This is firstly. Secondly, and this is accepted by everybody, our nuclear triad is more modern than any other triad. Actually, only us and the Americans have a triad. And we have advanced much more than them. Our triad and the whole nuclear element is much more modern.
The Russian president also said if United States troops appear in Ukraine, Russia will treat them as interventionists.
The United States announced not sending troops to Ukraine. We know what American troops on Russian territory are. They are interventionists. This is how we will treat it, even if they appear on Ukrainian territory. They understand that. I told you that Biden is a representative of the traditional school of politics. That shows.
And India correspondent Dasha gets us more from Moscow.
President about the risk of the nuclear escalation globally, and with that in mind, with the Russian nuclear triads being assured to be more sophisticated than that of the United States, the Russian president said that Russia is always combat ready to this risk, and Moscow is always ready to defend its territorial integrity and sovereignty. So the Russian nuclear weapons, sophisticated and advanced, are there on guard of the Russian interests. We also have heard the Russian president saying that Moscow can hold potentially a nuclear test if the United States resorts to this measure. This is because, according to the Russian president, the US failed to ratify the treaty banning those nuclear tests. So Moscow has also rejected the signature that was earlier put on this treaty by Moscow. The Russian president also was asked about the possibility of using tactical nuclear weapons in Ukraine. He said that the situation was not there. There was no need to do so. He reassured that Moscow does know its responsibilities as a nuclear power. Speaking of Ukraine, Vladimir Putin said that Moscow is still ready for any sort of discussion, but only if the real security guarantees are provided to Moscow, not just the time being bought for the Ukrainian armed forces to replenish their military potential.
The United States, meanwhile, will send new military and aid package for Ukraine worth $300 million. President Joe Biden's administration informed on Tuesday this is the first such move in months as additional funds for Kyiv remain blocked by Republican leaders in Congress.
On behalf of President Biden, I'm announcing an emergency package of security assistance of $300 million worth of weapons and equipment to address some of Ukraine's pressing needs. This emergency package that we're announcing contains a large tranche of artillery rounds and gimlers for the HIMARS. This ammunition will keep Ukraine's guns firing for a period, but only a short period. This package does not displace and should not delay the critical need to pass the bipartisan national security bill.
Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky has said he was looking forward to the arrival of new defense package from the United States.
I also want to thank the United States and all Americans who valued freedom for their defense support for Ukraine. I'm looking forward to the arrival of a new defense package.
President Biden and former President Donald Trump both clinched victory in their respective parties' nomination, making it the first U.S. presidential election rematch in nearly 70 years. Biden surpassed the delegates' number on Tuesday night as results began to come in from primary contest in Georgia. Biden faced only token opposition in the Democratic primary campaign. He issued a statement after he sealed the Democratic nomination, taking aim at what he called Trump's campaign of resentment, revenge and retribution that threatens the very idea of America. Hours later, Donald Trump also secured the Republican presidential nomination as 4 states held contest, including Georgia, the battleground where Trump faces criminal charges for his efforts to overturn the state's 2020 elections results. The outcome of Tuesday's voting was essentially predetermined after Trump's last remaining rival for Republican nomination, former UN Ambassador Nikki Haley, ended her presidential campaign following Trump's dominant performance last week on Super Tuesday, when he scooped 14 of the 15 state contests.
This has been a tremendous week for our movement. We won big on Super Tuesday. They call it Super Tuesday for a reason. We won big. And now we're just days away from officially clinching the Republican nomination for President of the United States of America.
Lawmakers in the United States grilled the former special prosecutor who investigated President Biden's handling of classified documents in the Congress on Tuesday. Robert Hur was challenged by both political parties over his report's conclusion that Biden did keep some documents, but a jury would unlikely find him guilty of doing so willfully. DD India correspondent Caroline Malone reports from Washington, D.C.
Stood by his report when he gave testimony to the House committee on Tuesday. He'd been assigned by the Justice Department to look into Biden's handling of classified documents while he was vice president. He interviewed the current president back in October, just after the Hamas attack on Israel. He said he found that Biden did have classified documents after his time in office, but that it would be unlikely he could be found guilty of it, given a lack of evidence, and also that a jury may see him as well-intentioned and just forgetting about the documents. Democrats on Tuesday took issue with a suggestion of Biden having a problem with his memory, saying that was beyond the scope of the investigation and that Hur must have known it would become political. The Republicans, on the other hand, are campaigning on Biden being too old, and they do talk of issues that they see with his mental capacity. And in the House hearing, Republicans say they thought Hur didn't go far enough, that they see there being a two-tiered justice system, one that lets Biden off, but charges the former president, Donald Trump, who's also facing this time a criminal case for keeping multiple classified documents, some of them top secret, and not returning them immediately to the FBI. Hur said he did see a difference between the two cases, but that he stands by all that was in his report. Caroline Malone in Washington for DD India.
Some other news: humanitarian aid from Morocco was sent to Gaza via land route on Tuesday. This is the first time Israel's Kerem Shalom border crossing has been used for aid in 5 months of the conflict. A shipment of 40 tons of aid was shipped by air to Israel before it was loaded at the crossing onto trucks operated by Palestinian Red Crescent. Japan's Space One's Skyros rocket exploded shortly after the inaugural launch on Wednesday. The 18-meter four-stage solid-fuel rocket exploded seconds after lifting off from its launch pad on the tip of mountainous Kai Peninsula in western Japan. The explosion left behind a large smoke and fire near the launch pad on the tip of the peninsula in western Japan. The Tokyo-based startup Space One was aiming to become the first private Japanese firm to put a satellite into orbit. President of the Japanese firm has stressed that the rocket explosion cause is under investigation. Five Films for Freedom, the world's widest-reaching LGBTQIA+ digital campaign, returns on 13th March, marking a decade of celebrating diverse stories from across the globe. This year, the campaign brings 5 compelling new films from Philippines, India, Spain, UK, US, British Council. UK's International Organisation for Cultural Relations and Educational Opportunities are presenting this year's lineup of short films. A correspondent spoke with Alison Barrett, Director India, British Council, regarding this initiative.
Joining me is Alison Barrett, Director India, British Council, and to talk about the 5 Films for Freedom. Ma'am, how it is different and what can you tell us more about this initiative?
So at the British Council, we believe that love has no boundaries, and every year we celebrate the LGBTQI+ community by launching a competition called 5 Films for Freedom. This celebrates the expressiveness and creativity of the community and helps us stand in solidarity with them. This year we have 5 films from Spain, from the Philippines, from the UK, from the US, and 1 winner from India. So we're very excited about that.
This year, I mean, you guys have been doing it for the last 10 years, but what is the special thing this year that you guys are doing?
So this year it's the 10th anniversary celebration. So far the films have reached over 23 million people around the world, and we're really excited that in India this year we're screening the films in 10 cities across the country, working with 12 partners, and we hope that we can make the films go viral and perhaps even double that 23 million. Let's see.
Also wanted to know, British Council is playing a pivotal role in, pushing the India-UK relationship forward. How do you see both the countries coming together, let's say in the next 5 years or in the next decade or so?
So the UK-India relationship is an incredibly special relationship. We're very proud of the work that we do with India across the realm of arts, culture, education and language. Over the next 5 years, working to the UK-India 2030 roadmap, we hope to really bring a deeper and more exciting range of activities and programs to India so that we can really help build greater knowledge and understanding between young people in both our countries.
Much appreciated time. So that was Alison Barrett saying that India and UK have a deep relationship and their roadmap for 2030 is already in place. With campus Sanjay Chana, this is Taposh Bhattacharya for DD India from Delhi.
In sports, Indian off-spinner Ravichandran Ashwin regained top spot in the ICC men's test bowling rankings. After stellar performance in the 100 test, Ashwin took 9 wickets against England. The big haul helped Ashwin overtake teammate Jasprit Bumrah to the premier position. Bumrah now shares the second position with Australia seamer Josh Hazlewood. India captain Rohit, who smashed 100 in Dharamshala, rose 5 places to 6th position, while Yashasvi Jaiswal moved up 2 places to the 8th position. That's all in this edition of DD India Live. Let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. You can connect with us on Facebook, X and Instagram. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Shubhendu Ghosh from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India Live. Namaskar.